Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm playing with the Hero Arts My Monthly Hero for October 2022. This kit is going to have one clear 6x8 stamp set. It has 19 coordinating dies, Snow Dots cling stamp. You're also going to get two ink cubes, white, reactive, and unicorn pigment, two sheets of diamond glitter paper, two sheets of snow glow cardstock, and two sheets of lapis cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started. Now for my card today, I am using the main kit, which you can see here. It's so pretty, as well as the cling background stamp. I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I have my gold heat embossing powder, my embossing and watermark ink. I'm also having anti-static powder and two sheets of cherry cardstock. All right, I want to first start with the background. So I'm going to take everything out of my MISTI and put in the cling stamp. Now the cling stamp, if you are using this type of stamp positioner, you need to have everything out of that MISTI in order to put in that cling stamp. I'll make sure to list all the products that I used below, but I made sure to cut my cardstock so it would fit onto this cling stamp. Now the cling stamp is um, a little bit bigger than a regular standard size card. So if you have a quarter panel, you're going to be fine. I did place a small piece of purple tape on the back side of that cardstock so it would hold in place onto my lid. And now I can come in with the embossing watermark ink. Now the embossing and watermark ink is just a clear ink, and that helps you to either one, leave a watermark, or it's the ink that allows you to do heat embossing. I had realized I had a transparency sheet grid behind my stamp, so I needed to move that out of the way and go ahead and place this down. Now, anytime I heat emboss, I do want to make sure I treat my paper. So this is a little tool here that has some powder in it, and it's just going to make sure that all of that gold embossing powder doesn't stick. Now, if you don't have a tool like this, I believe you can use baby powder and a paintbrush. And I can go ahead and close the lid, and I am pressing kind of hard on this because the lines of this Snow Dots cling stamp are kind of fine, and I want to get a good impression. But I also like to sometimes double stamp. If I have a large image like this, I like to kind of double stamp just so I know that those little bits and grooves are filled in. Now, what's so great about this background stamp, it's imperfect, which makes it so beautiful. Like if we see snow, snow is not all the same size, it's random sizes. So that's what I like about this cling background stamp as well, is because we get that variation. Now I'm going to tilt this up and I can see that I have a good impression here, and I'm going to use that purple tape for my advantage a little bit later. So now I can come in with my gold embossing powder. I'm going to shake that up a little bit and then go ahead and pour that over the card. Now again, I have that little piece of purple tape in the back, and that's going to assist me in holding on to this card panel. I'll go ahead and tap off any of that extra, and I do make sure to put on a lot of this embossing powder just so I can have all of my areas done, because once I heat emboss this, I'm not going to be able to go back and stamp this out again. So the more the merrier when it comes down to your embossing powder, especially if you don't have anything set up in your MISTI to double stamp this. I can go ahead and tap off all of that excess. I'm just double checking to make sure I have everything where it needs to be, and then I can funnel this embossing powder back into its container. I do make sure to heat up my gun before I bring anything to my paper. So you can see I'm testing it and it is hot. I'm going to start with using that little bit of purple tape in the back. I just have my finger kind of sticking through that hole just till I get really nice and heated. And then I can remove my hand from the back, and look how gorgeous this background is turning out. It has those perfect different variations in that background, and it's oh so pretty. This right here would make a stunning card with just a large sentiment on top of it. I love background stamps when they make your card making so much easier. So look how gorgeous that background is. Now I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to work on the top and bottom pieces. So I went ahead and I put in one of the stamps from the kit, which looks like pine cones. I'm going to also heat emboss this on the cherry cardstock as well. So I went ahead and put that into my MISTI. I'm going to use that embossing ink again. And I want to press this down on the top portion of this cardstock. So you can see I have it right at the top of the cardstock. Now this is going to save me one cardstock because I like to, use my cardstock very wisely. So I'm going to stamp it once across the top, and then I know I need two pieces to this, right? So first I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on the embossing powder across the top of this. So again, I'm sticking with this gold and red theme. I really don't want to add any other color to this. So I go ahead and shake that on there, tap off any excess that I have, and then I'm going to go ahead and heat set this one. So again, I'm going to need two of these. So once this is dried or heat set, I do the same exact thing on the other side, and I end up being able to save that middle piece of that cardstock. So if you wanted to just do this without the background stamp, this would also make a gorgeous card by having your sentiment or a main image flanked on the top of the bottom, just with that gorgeous gold. I am going to funnel in the rest of that gold embossing powder. I can go ahead and set that aside. And now this has a coordinating die within the kit. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that die and line it up on one side of this card panel. So once I have that lined up in place, I do go ahead and grab a piece of purple tape, but I try my hardest to kind of leave it on the paper and not so much on what I just embossed. So I line it up the best that I can, add that down, and then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. So for my die cutting machine, I always keep my Hero Arts compact die cutting machine on my desk. So I went ahead and trimmed down that cardstock so it would fit right through this smaller machine. And this keeps me from having to walk across my room to go to my big machine. So I can run that through. I can go ahead and take that off. Now I have one part of my card done. All I have to do now is bring in that other piece of cardstock, because remember, I stamped this out twice. So I'm going to remove this die here, and then I can line it up with the other side, because remember, I did two sides here. I can line that up and also run this through my die cutting machine. This is going to give me that pretty top and bottom to my card panel. Now that I have that die cut, you see here how I have that gorgeous gold at the top and that gorgeous gold at the bottom. And look how simple this is. To me, you can do this in any color combination that you would like. Now I need a sentiment. Now, because that background is textured, I'm not able to stamp my sentiment right onto that card panel. So instead, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again on that cherry cardstock because I want all of my colors to blend. And when you're using just two colors, like I'm using the gold and red here, it really makes for a seamless card because there's no colors competing with anything. So I could see this done in black, which I think will be stunning, also on navy, and also on a gorgeous color of pink, I think would be gorgeous as well. So I went ahead and stamped down the Happy Holidays. And again, I'm going to bring right back in my Hero Arts gold embossing powder and sprinkle that on top. And again, this piece is small enough that I can run this through that die cutting machine as well. I make sure I knock off any stray embossing powder, and then my heat gun is still pretty much warm here, so I can just quickly run this over and I know I'm going to have a beautiful impression. Now within the kit, you also have the matching dies for the words, which I love because fussy cutting words sometimes to me can be a little bit stressful. So I love that we have matching dies. Now remember, you can go ahead and order your kit. The kit value is $79. The kit cost is only $34.99. And don't forget that we have a giveaway going on. You can win a $50 gift certificate. So make sure to comment on everybody's blog through October 9th at 11:59 Pacific time. And then the winner will be announced on the Hero Arts blog the following week. All right, so I have a card panel here and I want this to be gold. So this is just a side folding card base, and I'm going to grab my Hero Wax in Gold. And I'm just going to take some of this paste and place it all the way around this card base. So as you can see, I'm just adding a little bit and swiping it so I can have gold on all four corners. I did not want to see the white card base because remember, I'm trying to keep everything red and gold. So I do want the inside of my card to be white. So this is a good way that you can kind of add a little bit more oomph to your card bases, and then you place something on top of it. So as you can see, this does not need to be perfect because I'm adding that red piece on top. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean up any extra that I have on the sides here. And this does not take long to dry at all. So by the time I try to find a wipe to clean off my hands, this is pretty much dried already. All right, now it's time to build up our card. So I'm going to grab my Hero Arch Precision Glue, and I can press that right on top of this card base. Remember, this is not a card panel or a layering piece. It is actually the card base. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and then look how pretty that gold border is around that card panel. How beautiful is that? I'm going to use my tool right here just to press everything into place. And now when I open up my card, I have a white card base to write in a sentiment. But look how gorgeous that is. So I don't have the white peeking through again because I wanted to keep everything red and gold. So now I'm just kind of eyeballing. Do I want the top and bottom pieces to go all the way across the gold? And I decided I did not want that. So I am going to trim this down so it's just covering the red portion of my card. Now I do want these gold pine cones to kind of be lifted off of that red background. So I am using just some tape here. Now, if you wanted to, you could also die cut this piece a couple more times in white cardstock. But I'm just going to use my foam tape here just to give this card a little bit more interest with having those pine cone top and bottoms be a little bit elevated off of that red card panel. So I'll bring back in the red card panel, and just by having this little bit of lift, it's actually going to give just a tad bit of dimension to my card. So I'll line that up across the top, and look how gorgeous this card is. Again, two colors here. I would definitely say do this in black or navy. Oh God, even brown would be stunning. So I'm framing out that center portion so I can have a focal point in towards the middle of the card. And for the focal point, I want that to be my sentiment. So with my sentiment, I'm also going to pop that up as well. Now use just a little bit of this tape, and then I can peel off the back, and we have a completed card. Now I'll have everything linked below, but you can also see additional pictures over on my blog. All right, everybody, that is a wrap, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you're new to my channel, don't worry, subscribe and you won't miss a thing. All right, everybody, until next time, stay safe and be well, and I'll see you guys in another video soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.